Alright, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to have a look at a little game called Battlebit Remastered. This game is, well, it's kind of blowing up a little bit, so evidently I want to jump on that and give my 2 cents. Today I just want to talk about this game in general, give you kind of like a brief overview, but mostly talk about how it is to play, some good, some bad, hopefully to help you make an informed decision about purchasing. However, what I will say is that before I even talk about anything to do with this game, not only should you consider subscribing if you do enjoy the enjoy the content, but you should absolutely buy this game. If you like first-person shooters, if you like games which are packed full of content, unique ideas, and passion, then this game is for you. If you like cheap games that aren't sold to you in chunks to make you come back and purchase more and more and more every time, then this game is also for you. Battlebit Remastered is not only a strong contender as a general first-person shooter, but this game is completely underpinned by genuine passion. Passion which is very rare to find nowadays, especially with modern gaming. This game was made by 4 people. 4 people. And you can tell that this game was built to be a game. It was not built to be a business disguised as a video game. This is how gaming used to feel. This is when gamers were gamers. Battlebit Remastered is essentially a clone of Battlefield. It has the same formula. It has classes, it has vehicles, it has 256 player matches. If you've ever played Battlefield before, then you know that this is a winning formula, and I feel like these 4 guys just got fed up with DICE neglecting the Battlefield formula and just said, yeah, you know what, fuck it, let's just make it ourselves. And it's very evident because this game is hovering around 45,000 players for a 4-man dev team. GG, seriously, like big fucking pat on the back, kiss on the lips, you name it. Alright, so I'm going to start off talking about the maps. Evidently this isn't the most graphically demanding game, and to be honest with you, it doesn't bother me. I think the first time I saw this, I was a little bit like, kind of reminds me of Roblox Phantom Forces. And it does feel maybe a little bit weird for the first couple matches because, you know, you're used to games looking nice these days. But then I find that the more you play it, the less the visuals matter, and you kind of ease into it a little bit. The simpler style allows for a lot more freedom. It allows for fantastic optimization as well, considering just how much shit is happening, and a wealth of other features such as building structures that would probably completely level someone's computer. That's not to say that the game is ugly. I mean, it has a style, but I wouldn't say it's graphically beautiful. It's not going to bring tears to the eyes. And that also doesn't mean that the maps are boring or bland or uninspired. I would say they're all fairly unique. Nearly every map has some kind of levolution event. So in case you don't know, Battlefield 4 introduced this thing called levolution. It was essentially pre-scripted destruction that would drastically change the flow of a map. Battlebit does this, and I haven't quite worked out to what extent yet, but things do happen. Big structures fall down. I've seen wind turbines fall down, bits of the power plant falling down, and also just general destruction, which isn't anything super crazy. There's no terrain destruction either, but there's more destruction in this game than Battlefield 2042, and I know it doesn't look as good as 2042 with the particle effects and whatnot, but it provides gameplay. Anyway, look, the maps are good. I believe there's about 18 of them, all very varied, and what I particularly like is that the developers have included map voting as well as different day and night versions of each map. These maps are good. They're interesting, they provide enough variety to not feel like you're playing the same thing over and over again. So look, I can't complain. It's better than 2042 by 100,000,000,000,000,000,000%. So fuck you, DICE. Sorry. And you know, similar to this, just content in general. There's just a good wealth of content, what with gadgets, what with weapons, classes, bearing in mind more classes than Battlefield as well, which is interesting. You also have some light cosmetic items, such as skins for your weapons, which you unlock with kills. You know, there's no battle pass. No, you're not just grinding some goddamn cosmetic tree that gives you maybe 2 guns and a couple decals. No, this is just through hard fucking graft. Likewise with attachments as well, a plethora of attachments, all unlocked through gameplay. So if you want to buff out the AK-47, then you're going to have to use that weapon. You're going to have to start out with this gun having iron sights, no barrels, so it's got fat recoil or no grip, whatever you call it. I don't know anything about guns, I'm goddamn English. And it reminds me of the original Modern Warfare, you know, just putting in effort in order to get a reward out of it. And that's how it should be. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is old school. This is a way of making things rewarding without putting them behind a paywall or by giving you artificial leveling. This feels like you're reaching milestones, and it feels like the exact same thing when you used to get Red Tiger in Modern Warfare, right? And you'd be like walking around knowing that you're the shit because this camo is difficult to get. And as well, there's soldier cosmetics, so you can change your face, you can change your mouth and hair and all of this stuff. There's armor as well, which increases maneuverability, can slow you down, but at the buff of getting a bit more health. In general, the armor is completely fucked, and I don't really enjoy it in this game, I'll be honest with you. I would like to see them put a little bit more of the cosmetics in, just because having some very light items which you can slap onto like your weapon, so even weapon charms. I know this is crazy to encourage, but this is the kind of game where I trust the developers to do that. If they want to sell some goddamn weapon charms, I'll fucking buy them, because they're not scummy, they're not suits, these are genuine people making a genuine goddamn game. One big thing which Battlebit really nails down is the traditional class format which Battlefield was known for. You are not a character, you are not a personality, you do not have a strong main character syndrome. You are a cog in a machine. It doesn't matter that you're non-binary like Sundance, or your parents were killed in the first war, alright? Like, none of that matters, because you put all of that aside and you just be a medic, you just be an engineer, and that is your job, is to fulfill that role. It absolutely 100% works, right? And the fact that there's 45,000 people playing this game and about 6,000 playing Battlefield 2042, DICE, for a start, you can tell what your fans want, but also it very clearly establishes that there's a big audience for this, myself included, right? It instantly feels so much different to Battlefield 2042. Just the maturity levels are absolutely there. This game is mature. That's actually probably the best way I'd put it. And I know that seems crazy because the game looks like it was made for children, or like it was built on a Roblox engine, but this game is difficult. I get fucked up on this game. I'm trying very, very hard to get some gameplay for you where I don't look like an absolute veggie, and to be honest with you, I can't do it. The time to kill is incredibly low. The movement speed isn't the quickest, it's not the slowest, but the slowness comes from switching weapons, it comes from reloading, vaulting. All the animations are heavy. There's a great deal of weight to everything, which is, I would say, best compared to Hell Let Loose. What I'm trying to say is that this game is not super casual. I mean, you can play it casually, obviously, but you'll find yourself getting shat on if you're not peeking corners, if you're not being aware of your surroundings, flanking, actually putting thought into this game, which completely surprises me, because to me it just looks like another fast-paced Adderall experience where all these Subway Surfers, ADHD TikTok kids play, but no, it's not. There's a lot of chaos, but at the same time it's grounded, and it has the balls to just do that. And look, the last thing I want to talk about in terms of the good is obviously these developers. Just this game in general, right, as I've said before, is a complete and utter throwback to better days of gaming, where developers were making games for fun and for passion, not for the sole purpose of making money. Devs aren't supposed to be car salesmen, you know, they're supposed to be creative people. This is an art after all. So to see this game come out with no monetization apart from the base game, filled to the brim with content, 18 maps, shitloads of weapons, light cosmetics which are earned throughout kills, no battle pass, all of this shit just accumulates and makes me want to give these devs my money. The thing is, when you're not begging for money and rolling around in the dirt throwing a tantrum if your audience doesn't splash £200 on the game, that instantly is more attractive to me. That makes me think, oh, okay, I admire the fact that you're humble about this. 4 people have made this game and they're not sat around trying to squeeze every goddamn penny out of their audience. So yeah, it's the same as Deep Rock Galactic. If the developers are nice, I don't have an issue with sending you a little bit of money for a supporter upgrade. So really, if anything, I would recommend buying this game just to support this kind of behaviour, and in a way as a big fuck you to all of these AAA companies going out and smashing together some loose content that was probably scrapped from the base game, packaging it into paid DLC or a battle pass, being like, no, fuck you, this is what we want. So seriously, even as some kind of goddamn political move, I would buy this game. £12. £12. You spend more money on a goddamn McDonald's these days. Alright, and I do want to end talking about some bad things, because, you know, look, this game isn't perfect. This game really turns me on, but it's not like the second coming of Christ. First and foremost, I do find myself getting quite frustrated playing this. I don't know if it's just me as a person, right? But I do find myself dying an awful lot, often to things which I don't really understand. Biggest offender are explosives. I mean, the audio in general is pretty poor in this game. Everything is incredibly quiet. Everything is quite empty. It feels like the mixing is way off. Some things are really loud, some things don't have any noise whatsoever, like footsteps barely seem to work. And also just spatial awareness is very poor in this game. As in, if you see a grenade come towards you, you have to physically, well, you have to see it, because you don't hear it. There's no audio cue, there's no indication that there's even a grenade near you. So more often than not, you will just die and be like, what the fuck just happened? And it's the same as footsteps as well, like I say. The audio in general is just not that great. In terms of immersion, it just doesn't hit the same. But I'm sure this is just a little kink that will be ironed out in early access. Another big one which people seem to complain about is this grind, which I spoke about, you know, grinding for weapons. Some people say that it takes too much time. To be honest with you, it doesn't really bother me. In fact, I'd probably rather have a little bit of a grind on the go. But to me at least, I'd rather grind and actually put hours rather than having to do a limited time battle pass, which I may or may not complete for additional money on top of the base game. And there's just some other little odd bits which I do find quite frustrating. In general, I'd say this game just needs quality of life fixes. This is what it needs the most. Like, for example, even just telling how many bullets are left in your mag is pretty much impossible. I don't know if it's the last mag, and these mags for some reason save your bullets, which is a weird hardcore feature that seems kind of out of place. As in, like, you have to combine bullets into mags. So you know, if you reload and you have some bullets left over, it will save that instead of it going into your kind of reserve ammunition like most games do, which seems like a really complicated and hardcore feature that maybe to me, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it seems kind of out of place. I don't know, it just seems a little bit unnecessary as well, but you know. Movement could also be better, but again, I respect that this is an early access game. I just find it a little bit clunky. It all feels like you're weighted down with like an anchor. It suits the style of the game, it suits the hardcore, but I find it a little bit janky. It's not horrendous by any means, but it could definitely be improved. And also a big thing which people are complaining about is the fact that you can't turn off this camera shake, this view bob, which is very strong, and a lot of people who get motion sickness just can't play this game because there's no toggle for it. Again, that's just a quality of life thing. I'm sure it's not going to be the end of the world. And like I said as well, some maps suffer from the 2042 issues, where there's just so many angles, there's so many open buildings, there's so many windows, there's so many structures. More often than not, you are looking up, down, left, right, and it is genuinely quite exhausting. Playing this game is good fun, but I feel like I need to have a can of Red Bull before I start doing it. I wouldn't say it's a casual thing in the slightest. But you know what gets me the most about this game is that I really hope that DICE and EA have seen this, right? I mean, they'd be fools not to. And saying that, they live in their own little fucking bubble over there, so they're probably like, no guys, don't look at the reviews for it. Everyone hates it. What we're doing is so much better, guys. Keep going. I hope that they do see it though, and they go, oh wow, this indie team made a better game than our 300 plus experienced developers made with a multi-million pound budget, PR and marketing. Fuck you, DICE. If I were you, DICE, I would be crying and screaming right now. I wouldn't even show my face ever again. I wouldn't even make another game. Fuck it, I'd just shut down the studio and be like, look guys, you know what, take it give these 4 guys the IP of Battlefield, right? Just sell it to them. No, give it to them for free. Right, that's the least you can do. What I'm trying to say is that Battlebit Remastered slaps. It's a decent game. No, it's more than decent. I would say it's a pretty exceptional game. Just buy it. Buy it for the gameplay. Buy it for the content. Buy it for the atmosphere. But then also just buy it to say fuck you to these big AAA companies that keep doing the same shit and robbing their consumers, rather than supporting genuine developers like these guys that have limited resources, limited time, limited support, and still don't fuck over their audience for the most amount of profit. Alright, I'm gonna stop talking. Get it. Cheers for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, leave a like on it, and as always, I'll see you lot in a bit.